Hello and welcome. This is Oakley, co-founder of the guild, the First Order. This video is about why I enjoyed playing Lord of the Rings Online so much. I decided to make this video for you, the members of the First Order, so that you can hopefully better determine whether Lord of the Rings Online sounds like a game that you would like to play or not. I want to preface this video by saying that what it took for my system to run the game and record video as well made the game very choppy. It looks beautiful from a texture standpoint. It looks pretty much exactly like I see it on my screen, but it is running at a much lower frame rate than it normally would be. So please take that into consideration when you're watching the video. Thank you. So welcome to Middle-earth. What you're looking at is actually the in-game main map of Middle-earth. Now, for those Tolkien fans out there who have seen maps that J.R.R. Tolkien had published into his books, this is going to look very familiar to you. The first reason why I love Lord of the Rings Online so much is because this game is based off of J.R.R. Tolkien's written work, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion. This game is in no way related to the movies that Peter Jackson created. So we are now looking at Eriador, and you can see the path of the Fellowship starting from the Shire, which is out in the west towards the sea, as they move west into Breland, and then into the Lonelands, where Frodo gets stabbed on the Great Watchtower of Amon Sul, and then the Trollshaws as well. You can also see Angmar up in the north, the Misty Mountains, and Nan Coronir down at the bottom where Isengard and the Tower of Orthanc lies. You can also see a region where the entrance to Moria lies. So now we're moving into Rhovanion. You can see a better shot of Isengard here. This is also where Moria, Lothlorien, and Mirkwood lie as well. Now the game has not expanded beyond this at the moment, but down south of Lothlorien is Rohan and Mordor as well. So now we're going to get a better and closer look at Breland. Now you'll see in the center, that is the town of Bree, where Frodo first meets Strider at the Prancing Pony. And again, for those of you who know the maps, that's going to look very familiar. So, welcome to Middle-earth. For some of you, this is your first look into the Middle-earth of Lotro. So the second reason that I love Lord of the Rings Online so much is just the sheer beauty of the game, which you can see here. It's a stellar looking game. The landscapes are beautiful. It's a wonderful, pleasant place just to be. What comes with the beauty of Lord of the Rings Online too, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart, is just the way that the water looks in this game, which I'm showing you here. Now, this isn't the most beautiful body of water in the game, but since I'm doing the whole video here, this is what I have to show you. You can see the ripples of the water and how I interact with it as well, which is really cool and very immersive in the game as well. And also you'll notice the dynamic shadows of the trees on the ground and stuff as well. So what you're seeing here is the mounts that you can have in the game. There's two types of mounts. There are horses and there are goats as well. And they had to add goats into the game due to lore reasons, because you cannot ride horses in the Mines of Moria because they wouldn't be able to traverse it. So some close-up look at the textures just in the horse, and you notice like in the lampposts and in the ground, and just how, again, how beautiful the game truly is. So just to give you a little background on where we are right now, we are not actually out in Middle-earth. Where we are is in the homesteads. This is where the player housing is, your own personal house, which we'll get to a little bit later, just if you were curious on where we were. And again, just noticing how immersive this game is and how beautiful it is. And the shadows and the way it interacts with the game is truly, truly stellar. So moving on to the third reason why I love playing Lord of the Rings Online, which is the deed system. Now, I'm going to apologize if I lose some of you here, but this is a very complicated system in the game. So what you're seeing is the deed log. You get deeds for accomplishing objectives in the game, whether that is completing certain quests or killing certain mobs a certain number of times, and you get rewards for doing that. The primary reward that you get is virtues, and I'm showing you a virtue here, which is patience. Now, there are 20 virtues in the game, and you can equip up to 5 virtues at a time, which I'm showing you here, and you can see the virtue traits at the top of this window here. Now, each virtue can be from rank 1 all the way up to 14 currently, and what these give you are passive stat boosts to various things, whether that is your primary stats or secondary stats as well, and various other things. And it's one of the primary ways to be able to build your class. So I'm just going through and just kind of giving you more or less a feel of the various different deeds you can get. Now, on top of getting virtues, you can also get titles, which I'm showing you here. Almost all the deeds give you titles one way or another. Not quite all of them, but the vast majority of them. What you're seeing are relatively lower level titles that you can get, like the Thorough, which is actually a very, very difficult title to get, but there are literally hundreds and hundreds of titles that you can get. Now, on top of virtues and titles, you can receive various other rewards as well. You can get mounts and fun little things. What I'm going to show you here is one of the fun things that I am working on currently. What it is the Dragon Deed. And this is actually a consumable item, which you're seeing the tooltip for right here. And this produces a dragon of flame that then spits out fire towards another player character in the game. Now, if I use this consumable item 300 times, I can get that consumable item as a skill that I get forever, and I can use it whenever I want. I don't need to carry the consumable around with me anymore, and I have it for all time. Now, I'm showing you here all the virtues, all 20 of them that you can get, and you can hover over them and see what they provide and so forth. And each time you rank up, obviously it increases the actual stat that you receive from those passive skills. Okay, so we're going to move to the fourth reason why I love playing Lotro, which is player housing. So there's 4 different types of player housing. This is the Breland Homesteads, and this is my personal house. There's also one for the hobbits, for elves, and for dwarves as well. So you have many different options for what you want as your personal house. Now, your house is shared across all characters on your server. So this is my front yard. You're seeing an elven fountain here, which is nice and pretty. I just got that recently. Also a windmill. So now we're going to go inside. And welcome to Oakley's house. So I've tried to decorate this house in the style of kind of like a ranger or somebody who lives out in the wild. So, you know, dark brown wood floor and green wallpaper, and, you know, try and give it that woody feeling a little bit. So just showing you around various things, a little miniature of the windmill I have out front. You see a lot of fish on the walls. You can actually fish in this game and get those. So there are usable items as well. So you're seeing this Gondorian candelabra, and I lit a little flame at the top, which I know isn't very exciting. And that is the head of a turtle that you can kill in the game as well. I don't have a lot of usable items, but there are some really, really, really cool ones that you can get in-game. Here I'm showing you something from a boss from an instance, which is Sambrog's Smoking Helm. This is my bedroom, which I have a bed that doesn't really match. So one of the other nice reasons to have a house is you can have extra storage as well, which I'm going to show you here. So with the deluxe house, which is what I have, which is the larger of the two personal houses that you can have 2 housing containers. Just extra storage for stuff you're not going to have a lot of need for. It's good for housing items, extra housing items that you have, or stuff that you want to keep for different seasons of the year. And it's a nice place to be, and it's a lot of fun to toy around with. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the 5th reason why I love playing Lotro, which is the crafting system. Now, Turbine took great care to make crafting very valuable and worth doing in this game. Some of the best items that you can receive in the game is actually from crafting, and certain items you can only get from crafting as far as getting the best of the best, which is nice. So what I'm showing you here, I'm a tailor, so I can make cloaks. So what I'm showing you is just various cloaks that I can make. These are mid-level cloaks. So just showing you really the different ways that they look, utilizing the dressing room window, which we'll talk about in a minute. So you can make items, and then you can crit on those items to make better versions of that item. And it's a system that works really well. So I can make cloaks and armor from what you can see there. Now the other thing that's nice, which I'm showing you here, is as a tailor I can make various items for different classes. Here you're seeing burglar items that I can make and captain items that I can make, and these can only be used by the burglar and the captain classes. Now all the different crafts have things like this where you can only make certain items for certain classes. What's nice as well with the crafts is you can make stuff that's outside of gear. You can make cosmetic items. You can make housing items. Certain crafts have items that you can use socially that have no other purpose other than just using them when you're around people, just for a little added ambiance. So what I'm showing you here is just more cloaks, just to show you the kind of scale of how different items can look. Now these are actually some of the higher level items in the game currently, and this cloak that I'm showing you now is actually, to my knowledge, the highest cloak you can get. This is the best cloaks you can get stat wise, and they do look really cool, and they have a dragon theme to it because it all evolves around the new raid that's in the game, which is killing a dragon. And so it's a lot of fun, and crafting really feels like you need it as you level up alts and stuff like that. So it's worth the time to do, which is nice. All right, so now we're going to move to the 6th reason why I love playing Lotro, which is the way that you build your class. Now, we don't have skill trees in this game, but we do have a class trait system, and you can see the 3rd row down are the class traits. You can equip up to 7 class traits, and each one obviously gives you buffs the same way a skill tree would, but they all have set bonuses. Now you'll see here there are 3 pages for every class of class traits. Now these are all grouped together, and if you see on the right side, you have a 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are the set bonuses. So, for instance, if we were to equip 2 of Weight to the Shield, we get improved block rating for some of the skills that we can use from this line, and so on and so forth. Once you get to the 5th set bonus, however, you get another trait that you get to equip into your legendary trait slots, and these go for the other 2 trait lines as well. And there's many different ways that these can affect the way your character work, and it's a very unique system, and it's a system that works extremely well in this game and is a lot of fun to play around with, and you have a lot of flexibility with what your character can do, and you're never locked into those trait lines, which is nice. Now, the other thing that's nice about the classes, since we're on the subject, is a lot of the classes get unique little tools that we get to use. Now, I'm a tank. What I'm showing you here is a temporary stealth that I can go into. And I can actually use this to get the jump on some of the enemies and make it a little bit faster and easier for me to grab threat and deal a little bit of damage in the process as well. And many of the other classes have tools that are outside of their archetypes, as you will. For instance, the Minstrel, which is one of the big healer classes, has an entire trait line dedicated to buffing and to supporting the group as opposed to healing the group, which is really nice for them to be able to do that. Okay, so on to the 7th reason why I play Lord of the Rings Online, which is the player music. So in this game, you can play music. There are a lot of different instruments. There's, I think, 7 or 8 different instruments that you can play. And you can pretty much play whatever you want. The system works off of a preset file that tells the game what to play. Now, you can also play freehand as well, with hotkeys and stuff on the keyboard. And there are people who do that, but that takes a lot of a lot of work to master. And what's cool about this system is you can actually sync up with other players in your group and play different parts to the same song. You do have to choreograph with everybody, make sure they have the correct files and such, but you can all play different instruments and different parts to the same song, just like a band would in real life. And there's actually a pretty popular community-ran concert that goes on called Weatherstock, and that's held on the Landreval server, and there are hundreds of people that attend that. So what I'm showing you now is a different instrument and a different type of music. Now I do want to have a small caveat here that recording this is making the actual song sound really off, and since there's a lot of notes and stuff, it doesn't sound quite as in sync as it should. But what's nice is as you play through the game, you'll end up back in town and there will be a person or a group of people playing music, and you get to stop and listen, and it's a real sense of immersion, and it's a ton of fun to play around with as well, because as long as the file is written, you can play it. Alright, so on to my final reason why I play Lord of the Rings Online, which is the magnificent cosmetic outfit system. So what you're seeing right now is just the armor that I currently have on and equipped. It doesn't look very nice, but you can have outfits. So this is my first outfit. Now, none of these items I have equipped onto my character. These are purely cosmetic. And this is the second outfit that I have. Now, you can have up to 7, which you can see, and you can unlock those through the Lotro store. And it's a really wonderful way to look unique. It's a wonderful way to have many different styles and different things to do when you're out doing combat. You can look a certain way. When you're in town, you can look a certain way. Or if you're role-playing, you can do something entirely different. You can have all that at the tips of your fingers. So what I'm showing you now is the dressing room, and all of the armor and anything you can use cosmetically can be dyed different colors for the most part. And the dressing room allows you to see how a piece of armor will look once it's been dyed. And it gives you a wonderful tool to be able to kind of build a cosmetic outfit without actually having to buy the items. Because as long as you can click on the item in game, you can put it into your dressing room and preview how it's going to look on your character. And also change the color of the dye, which is a wonderful, wonderful tool to have. So that's it, everyone. Thank you very much for watching and bearing with me through this. I hope that this gives you some insight into Lord of the Rings Online, and hopefully makes you interested in coming and joining us on the Nimrodel server. Thank you very much.